Yo! Welcome back to another trade recap. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I'm up $5,300 today. I took two trades, one short in the morning, and then ended up taking a long a little bit right afterwards. But I want to break these trades down to you guys right now. I've been kind of waiting to put on size this month because I'm going to be completely honest. This week, price action has actually been phenomenal. Price action's really been good this week. The other 2 weeks of August, the first 2 weeks of August were bum. So I didn't really put on a lot of size this week. This was kind of the first day where I, actually got a nice return based off price action, or based off just the trades that I took. I'm in Serbia right now with my development team working on stuff with TradePass. So I leave to go back to the States tomorrow. And I'm just super excited. I'm going to be pumping a shit ton of content for you guys. More trade recaps. We have a bunch of new videos that are being edited right now. So I'm super excited to be on the lookout. Like, my goal is the rest of Q4, I want to go harder than I ever have before with content and everything that I'm doing. So be on the lookout for that. But without further ado, I kind of want to jump in, show you guys the trades that I took and kind of the bias. So going into the day, just looking at the bigger time frame, we'll kind of replay price action here and talk about this. So let me clear up this. Okay. We'll actually clear up everything here and we'll do a top-down analysis. So going into the day, doing a top-down analysis, finding a bias. Obviously, this week we've been super bearish. We've been dumping from the highs. And so going into the day, I still had a pretty bearish bias. If on the 4 hour, I can look and kind of see we're respecting this 4 hour order block. This down close candle, we ended up coming up in the morning and continuing to respect this. Now, initially, when I looked at this, I wanted to see the market draw towards these highs because we had stacked equal highs. But what I realized is we actually ended up putting in a bearish SMT. So price ended up rebalancing back to equilibrium and OTE of this previous price leg. We're in a bearish fair value gap as well. So we started to put an SMT in, and then on the 30-minute, we ended up having our change in the state and a fair value gap getting ran through. So we had a 30-minute fair value gap here, ended up getting ran through, acting as an inverse, and we ended up also having our change in the state as well to the downside. So going into the AM, I want to find where my internal draw should be. So the next internal low that's acting as my low-hanging fruit or my confident low is this internal sell side level. Now, the reason it's this internal sell side level is because also on the daily, I'm being cautious of this consequent encroachment level. So on the daily time frame, we have a big daily wick here. So I'm marking out consequent encroachment because this is where I'm most likely expecting price to hesitate or hold bullish. So when we end up opening, what I wanted to see is price go higher first and then go sell off, right? Because normally one of the things I always tell you guys, for price to go lower, we must go higher first. So in the AM, when market ended up opening, we had a fast move lower first, but we didn't take that low. So the fact that we didn't take that low, I was still bearish because we're just generating more sell side liquidity. So the market ends up going higher. Again, draw on liquidity on my bigger time frame is still bearish. We rebalance perfectly, again, where? To the bigger time frame change in the state, tap it, and we also tap the 30-minute fair value gap. So again, once we're in an area in which I expect to reject, which is change in the state, 30-minute bearish fair value gap, and we're going higher in the opposing direction of the draw, this is where I want to look to take a reversal. So we end up running through this 1-minute fair value gap, and we end up having our change in the state. So the last down close candle got put in here, and this is where I ended up taking my trade when we got this fair value gap get ran through in a 1-minute change. This is where I zoomed in to the 30-second, and I waited for a pullback into the fair value gap. Pulled back into the fair value gap, took a short, stop was at the fair value gap high. Really good RR, around a 4 RR, and ended up just banking on this. Now, one of the questions I got in the community was, when it comes to holding and taking trades into PMI, because we had PMI today. Now, PMI is not a very significant like red folder news. It's nothing compared to like CPI. So if I'm taking a trade with PPI, I'll just lower size, which is what I did. So I only took 3 contracts on this. Normally, I would want to be taking like 6 contracts on this with a really good setup. So I cut the size in half because we were going into PMI. But what I always am expecting with news is I want news to push towards the already existing draw on liquidity. So we've already rebalanced price. Order flow is now changing in price action. So the fair value gap got ran through, showing that, okay, bullish imbalances are getting ran through, bearish imbalances are getting respected. Again, affirming my bias of what I want to see, which is price going lower. So 945 ended up opening. It wasn't super big, but it actually sparked the move lower. And then we pretty much just dumped straight to this low. Super easy, super simple. Now look where we end up respecting though. Immediately respecting and get bought back up from consequent encroachment of the daily fair value gap, or of the daily wick, sorry. So when we look at the daily, again, why is this key level important? Because consequent encroachment of a candle, oh my God, where did price action go? It disappeared. There it is. Consequent encroachment of a wick is going to act as a PD array. It's going to act like a fair value gap or something that we're going to respect a lot of the time. So we end up going down, tapping consequent encroachment. From here, we end up getting bought back inside the range. Now, once we got back inside the range, there still was no change. So at this point in time, I'm still loose with my bias. I think that the market could reverse. I think that we also could go back lower. But when we initially have this move back up, there's no break of structure. There's no change in the state, right? So I'm waiting. Market ends up coming all the way back down. Now, once this happens, what's happening here? We're still respecting consequent encroachment. We take internal liquidity as well with an SMT and a change. So what's the confluence for this? This is a forever model. This is literally the best setup, which is external sell side taken. We're in a bigger time frame area in which we expect to reject, which is consequent encroachment. We've been generating liquidity all morning. We've had internal sell side now get taken with a bullish SMT. Change in the state, which is the series of last down close candles, gets closed below, and I end up taking my long. Now, the only problem looking back with this trade is I took it off early. Now, I had I was on live this morning and I just had terrible internet connection, and I ended up taking this off early because I was trying to even reload the page and I wasn't even sure where my limits were. So this ended up getting bought up. I took it off at this point in time because also ES ended up taking this high beforehand. Now, an easy way that you can expect a lot of the time an SMT to get ran through, because at this point in time we had this bearish SMT, is there's no generated liquidity below us, and we've already done the job of what would need to happen for us to go lower, right? We've already sold off in the morning. We've already taken the drawn liquidity, which was the internal low. We're respecting consequent encroachment. We have a clean bullish reversal, all of this generated liquidity. And if you look at ES2, ES also had a lot of generated buy side liquidity all morning, right? All of this low resistance buy side, where we're just almost, looking like it's a trend line where we break out of it. But all of this is considered low resistance liquidity, which means we expect it to all get ran at the same time. So same thing on NQ. So the only really thing that I did wrong, I guess, on this trade is if my internet wasn't lagging, maybe take partials and then let the rest of the market do what it wanted to do. But I'll put the execution on the chart one more time so you can kind of see the exact entries and exits. But overall, I'm very, very happy with the day. This week, price action has been super, super clean. So next week when I get back to the States, I'm waiting to also upsize because I want to get my setup back. I'm flying back to Scottsdale, going to get my stuff from my storage unit, driving it up back to Idaho so I can set my shit back up, because I've been trading on my laptop for like the last 2 months. So I'm excited to get back home. I've been fucking traveling and all over the place. We're working on some amazing stuff over at TradePath. That I'm super excited to show you guys. But we also took this trade live in the Discord as well, within the mentorship. So if you guys are interested in watching me trade live, taking trades with us, I'll leave a link in the description below. But again, like I said before, I want to start pumping out a shit ton more content for you guys. We have so much shit planned. I have a CRT video going out probably in the next couple days. I've been tweaking my strategy just a little bit and adding CRT with it, which is really giving me a new edge that I kind of haven't, thought about before. We've been teaching it in the community. People have been using it. It's been fucking going absolutely insane. We've been seeing insane results. So my goal is, I realize that many of you guys are in a position that I've been in before, and it fucking sucks. When you're unprofitable and you're stressing and you feel like you don't know when success is going to come, and you feel like you're just trying to you're on a hamster wheel. I've been there before, and I absolutely hate that feeling. So I want to pump out as much content as possible by the end of the year and going into the next year to help you guys. So be on the lookout for that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this trade recap. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys later. Peace out, guys.